Hi dear survivors, welcome back to new video on KVD Boom Boom. I know my last video was on KVD Boom but low D. PS now I share best food buff, best mods and best cradles which increase your DPS damage and PSI intensity, and I recommended key armor best for KVD Boom Boom. KVD Boom Boom damage depend on PSI intensity increase through armory and mods which are legendary, and attribute like best or status and elemental damage must in mods. You must try for set shelter and blackstone, both are equal, increase your elemental damage, and best deviation 5 PYRO DINO growing pain 3. After watching this guide, you will know how to properly build the KVD Boom Boom LMG in once human and do the most amount of damage possible with it. If you enjoy my content, consider watching my other guides. Welcome everybody to my channel. This is Gamer, and in this guide we're going to explore how to build the KVD Boom Boom, which is pretty insane right now, so let's get right into it and start with an overview of the weapon features. So 18% chance to trigger burn on a hit. Pretty simple, but what is burn? So burn is a type of continuous debuff and damage source that deals 12% PSI intensity as status damage every 0.5 seconds for 6 seconds, stacking up to 5 stacks by default. That additional damages of blaze element cannot crit, cannot strike weak spots, but will not TKO with distance either. So moving on. Now before I talk about the gear sets, I just want to say that if you enjoy my content and wish to see more once human guides from me, consider subscribing to my channel and liking this video too. Support me. And now let's talk about the gear sets. So for the gear sets, you're going to want to run 3-piece SH shelter with 2-piece savior combo. The 3-piece shelter will give you up to shelter for 38% elemental damage bonus and bass C1 piece, so that you would get 10% conditional weapon damage bonus. So pretty much only the weapon damage bonus would be conditional, or even if you don't want anything that's conditional, you could go with a 1-piece lone vol for 1-piece renegade, secondary and melee. Moving on to the secondary and melee options, you have the option to choose between wildfire and bingo. So bingo has a low magazine capacity, however it can give up to 45% weak spot damage bonus and give 15% attack, whereas the wildfire can pretty much only give up to 25% weapon damage bonus, but it can spread its boy effect, so really oftentimes it'll come down to the context of the fight and how long it lasts. So for instance, if the fight lasts long but you don't really have much time to reset and 641 reload or whatever, then probably don't go with bingo and go with wildfire. But if the fight isn't going to last very long and the buff's duration is long enough for the fight duration, well, just use bingo. Then for the melee weapon, you'd want to run the long axe for its fortress warfare buff, which is 20% weapon damage bonus. Moving on to the substats priority sub. Let's start with the gun. So for the gun mod, starting with Burning Wrath, +1 burn stacks to this effect isn't really that good, since it just doesn't compare to other options that I'll go over, and this one isn't the one that we're going for anyway. And so then we've got Blaze Blessing, which is only a minor heal option, which I wouldn't go for either, you'd lose damage for some. We've got Embers, which is when burn is removed, stack -50% only, and again this is in the mod we'll be using, as this complement the hardy gloves, where instead of losing all stacks of burn after triggering a hardy gloves explosion, you'll only lose half, and we're not using hardy gloves, so the effectiveness of this mod would be much lower. Then finally we come to FL Resonance, which is max burn stacks +2 but burn duration -20%, and this is the preferred mod because we're really going for the extra possible burn stacks, as the more burn stacks an enemy has, the better the burn frequency thanks to the gloves. So this is the option that synergizes with BARBQ gloves, and this is the mod that you'd want to go for. Then moving on to the secondary weapons MOD, just run vulnerability amplifier for the extra 8% vulnerability on the marked target. Moving on to the helmet mod, you're going to want to run deviation expert, as it gives 10% fire rate over the entire mag, which helps you trigger burn faster and It also gives 20% status damage bonus, which is something you want to increase your damage you wouldn't want to go for something like momentum up, since the fire rate is only for half of your magazine and its other half is weapon damage bonus.